My friends, how's it going? Welcome back. We're going over Donald Trump's lawsuit in New York, filed by the New York Attorney General. And of course, at the end of the show, dad jokes. I received a lot more dad jokes over the past week. It looks like people enjoy the dad jokes. That's awesome. All right, we'll do that at the very end. Okay. This lawsuit against Donald Trump, it's the state of New York has spent several millions of dollars and years of investigation going after Donald Trump over this fraud lawsuit. And before anyone gets any ideas, I'm just going to come out and say it so that you don't accidentally think that have one opinion or the other. The lawsuit is freaking nonsense. It's a waste of money. I don't care if you like Trump, you don't like Trump. That makes absolutely no relevance in this case. The lawsuit by the New York State, the Attorney General, I have no idea how this is allowed and how the New York State is going after Donald Trump in the way they're doing it. Again, I don't care. You like him, you don't like him. It's like, as a lawyer, I kind of look at this objectively, and I've read the lawsuit, I've read the evidence, I research the evidence, and I just can't understand what the heck they're doing. So either Donald Trump is going to win this thing, or it's going to just show that the judge is somehow in crazy cahoots with the Attorney General or something, because something's not adding up. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, now, and Donald Trump, by the way, he has complained over and over that this trial, that this Judge Engeron, I might call him Judge Engeron, or I might call him some other names. We might have to bleep that out, the other names that I call him, all right, Mateo? Trump has complained that the judge railroaded this case, hurried it up to trial. And it's true. The case has gone from the complaint to trial in about 1 year, which in the New York State court is unheard of for something to go that fast, especially such a big case like this with so much evidence. So anyhow, okay. This whole case, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Okay, if you're driving, you may want to pull over before you hear this, because it's kind of very, very strange. New York State is alleging that Donald Trump borrowed money from Capital One, from Deutsche Bank, that he had certain dealings with insurance companies, and that all of those loans were paid back. Okay, so it's good. It's all fine. All of the loans were paid back. The lenders did not complain about anything, and they're not filing any sort of lawsuits. They got their money back, and they're all good. Yet the state of New York sued Donald Trump, saying, well, when he got those loans, he overvalued his property. So maybe the interest rate that he got should have been a little higher if he didn't overvalue these properties. That's it. That's the whole case. And nobody is complaining. Not the lenders, not Donald Trump, not the banks that were involved. Nobody other than the New York State Attorney General. And it's just crazy to me. Right. And keep in mind, all of the properties that Donald Trump, provided appraisals for, all of them were all properties that are out in the open, like golf courses, Trump Tower, the 40 Wall Street building, a building in 6th Avenue, New York, and California Street, San Francisco, and a golf course in Scotland. So all of these are properties that the banks knew about, that the banks had opportunities to appraise and did appraise. I don't see what the freaking problem is. Okay. Now let me go over, a little bit of how this this goes through the legal channels. All right. So I'm going to give you kind of the examples of what's going on here. All right. So Deutsche Bank lent Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars. All right. Now, Deutsche Bank did not file a lawsuit. And what the New York State Attorney General is saying is, okay, for example, Mar-a-Lago. You guys ever been to Mar-a-Lago? Zeke, you been there? No. Mateo? No? Okay, I haven't either, right? Donald Trump, when he borrowed all this money from the bank to from Deutsche Bank and these other banks. He said, okay, I appraise Mar-a-Lago at $450 million, maybe $500 million, depending on the year, So he's appraised it from $450 million to $500 million. There were some appraisals by other banks that put the value at $30 million. That's a big difference, right? Some banks valued it at $30 million. When Donald Trump went to apply for loans and do some deals, he appraised it at $450 to $500 million, which is a big difference. Now, some of the argument goes like this. The New York State Attorney General saying, yeah, but there were a lot of restrictions on Mar-a-Lago. He could only use it for a social club and he could only do this and only do that, blah, blah, blah. And some of the stuff that Donald Trump and his team state as well. When we appraised the property, we appraised it without the restrictions, meaning, as if like we could build whatever the heck we wanted there. 10,000 homes. We could have built, 14,000 homes, a freaking nuclear power plant, whatever the heck, right? And so in the world of appraisals, there's different kind of ideas. You could appraise things on market valuation. You could appraise things on capitalization rate. You could appraise it on, what somebody a fair market value would purchase something for, So there's all these different types of appraisals. So that's how they appraised it when they were borrowing all this money from the big bank. And keep in mind, this is, Deutsche Bank, and the other thing, they had in a lot of these appraisals that they gave the banks, Donald Trump and his team, they had a disclaimer. All right, I'm going to read the disclaimer as fast as I can. This is the actual disclaimer. Assets are stated at their estimated current values and liabilities and their estimated current amounts using various valuation methods. Such valuation methods include, but not limited to. Damn it! When you say include, you don't need to say but not limited to, okay? The use of appraisals, capitalization of anticipated earnings, recent sales and offers, and estimates of current values as determined by Mr. Trump. Considerable judgment is necessary to interpret market data and develop related estimates of current value. Accordingly, the estimates presented herein are not necessarily indicative of the amount that could be realized upon disposition of the asset. Meaning if you were to sell it, you might get a different amount, a lot less. The use of market assumptions and or estimation methodologies may have a material effect on this. They had a disclaimer. So in these estimates that he provided to the banks, he said, this might be completely wrong. Do your own estimate. Okay. Now, every time I have to call the bank and say, wait a minute, why did you charge me, this extra amount? Why did you do this? They always say, didn't you read the disclaimers, Joe Samo? Have you ever heard the bank say that to you, Mateo? They say it all the freaking time, these jerks, right? So he added in the disclaimer saying, look, this is just my appraisal. I don't even know if it's accurate. Somehow the judge already ruled that is not relevant, this disclaimer, and that it's not even relevant that the bank could have done their own due diligence. And it's not relevant that he even paid back these loans, right? Okie dokie, let's keep going. All right. There's another one. This another example of how they're going after Donald Trump here is his apartment in Trump Tower in New York. Okay, listen to this. Are you ready? Are you ready for what I'm about to say? Donald Trump said in his appraisals when he was borrowing money, and what it is, when you're borrowing hundreds of millions of dollars from a bank, you kind of list all of your assets and you list everything that you have an appraisal or what you evaluate the assets at. So he appraised his residence, the Trump Tower residence. He appraised it at a certain amount, and the amount was, per, whatever square foot. At 30,000 square feet, this is what it was worth. And the government here in their lawsuit against Donald Trump, they're not even necessarily saying, well, your evaluation per square foot isn't that far off, but you said it's 30,000 square feet, your apartment, but in reality, it's only 11,000 square feet. So you overstated the size. Okay, have you ever done that, Mateo? You overstated the size, right? Right?
Michael, 5K means 5 kilometers, not 5,000 miles.
So you overstated the size. Now, square footage, I'll tell you, as a lawyer, I know. square footage is a weird thing. Do you include the apartment, the garage space? Do you include the hallway? Do you include the balcony? If you have a or like if you build something where you kind of have a loft, do you include the square footage of the loft? I don't know. Like there's so many different things when you factor in square footage, whatever. The bank, however, they could go see the property, the architectural plans, the permit, everything is already there. Everything is available to the bank. And then the judge even cites, get this, the judge said how Forbes magazine estimates things like, oh, who's the richest, whatever in Canada, who's the richest dude here? So apparently Forbes magazine at one point tried to estimate Donald Trump's value. And even Forbes magazine knew from records, they said, oh, wait, but the apartment is only 11,000 square feet. And they sent a letter to Donald Trump saying, oh, your value of your apartment, it should only be 11,000 square feet. And the judge here says, well, Donald Trump was on notice that his apartment was only 11,000 square feet because he got a letter from Forbes. I don't know. This may be the first time I'm aware of that Forbes magazine is some sort of legal precedent or something like that. Okay, the next order of business here. There's a property, the Seven Springs Golf Course. It's a giant, a big golf course and a big piece of property. And some appraisals from various entities put this property at $50 million. Donald Trump had it at $300 million. Again, much bigger. And here, similar to the other ones, and I'll loop it in, the Aberdeen property in Scotland. There's a golf course, there's other land. With both of these properties, so Donald Trump's people said, yeah, well, if we could build, 1,500 homes on this Aberdeen property, where the golf course is, we would have a value of this much. And then later, the city of Aberdeen said that you could only have 550 houses that you could build on this, so they would only permit so many. So the state of New York said, well, in that case, you should have represented to Deutsche Bank that it wasn't worth as much as you stated because of those restrictions, and again, Donald Trump said, well, we evaluate the property without the restrictions because restrictions are arbitrary and they could be changed at any time. He's kind of has a point, kind of doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter because the bank agreed with his valuation and they lent him the money and he paid it back, right? So I think the biggest problem here is the judge already ruled that this is fraudulent. And I cannot for the life of me figure this out, how that could be done. And remember here, we're talking about Deutsche Bank, and we are talking about in this other, the next property, 40 Wall Street. That's the address, 40 Wall Street in New York. Capital One had a mortgage on that property where they had lent Donald Trump $160 million. Now, Donald Trump, he had, one appraisal company, Cushman and Wakeman, or Wakefield, sorry. They had appraised that property at maybe $250 million. Donald Trump, with his paperwork with Capital One, had it appraised for $500 million to $700 million. That's a lot more than that appraisal company valued it at. But again, gosh darn it, it's very difficult to say, why that would be fraudulent. Now, in my opinion, and the Trump people said, well, we could have, we had anticipation of doing different things with that building, and therefore we evaluated it higher. We think we could have sold it for that much. We think, we could have built, whatever, this here and that there and blah, 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 right? So that's why we valued it double what that appraisal company evaluated it at. All right, cool. And Capital One is a very big entity, right? I mean, what the hell? This is like a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar entity. And keep in mind, Capital One, I swear to God, if I had like a credit card or a bank account with those guys, if I overdraft $5, okay, they'll send me an email, a text, they'll call me, right? They'll hassle my kids at their school.
What's in your wallet?
Okay, if I overdraft for $5, all right? My point is, damn it, they know what they're doing. And guess what? Do you think they know where 40 Wall Street is? Right? They know that building. They know the tenants in that building. They know where it is. They know the square footage. They know the freaking, I bet you they send someone in there to be like, let's check if the toilets are working. Check the toilets in that building. Check the toilets. Send Zeke in there. Check out the hallways, right? So, and Capital One got their money, so they're not complaining either. I don't get it. This is like a serious lawsuit that this is millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money, and this is the former president and, potentially the next president. I don't know if, obviously I can't predict. One of the other things that drive me crazy, I think a lot of people don't really understand what's going on and what's dragging, the Trump family, in this court case, because the trial is not televised. We can't see it. This judge did not allow the trial to be televised. Now, I'm going to tell you why I know that is nonsense, okay? And I know that there is, he's hiding something. Let me tell you why. I got proof. Okay. Ivanka Trump, they wanted her testimony, and they wanted to ask her, what did you think of this valuation? And why did you think this was valued at? And don't you think, your dad's asset weren't $3 billion. They were more like $2.5 billion, and it was overstated and blah, blah, blah. So they want her testimony. Now, she did not want to testify in person. She said, well, why don't they do a virtual testimony so I don't have to go to New York. I don't know where she's living. Is she in DC area, right? Something like that. My kids are in school, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go up there. Why can't I just do a videotape deposition? Or, why can't you just, use my deposition testimony or something? The judge ordered her to physically appear in New York and physically appear in the courtroom to testify. Why did he do that? Come on, judge. Why do you need her there? Why do you need to physically see it? Why can't he just have somebody ask her and she answers and he just reads it, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what they're making us do. In fact, it's even worse because I cannot find a transcript of Trump's testimony. I mean, I don't know if it's available. I don't know if it will be available. I don't know. I couldn't find it. Maybe it's freaking, I have to fly to New York to get it. I don't know. I wasn't able to find it. So here you have the same judge that's saying it is so important that I be able to see what's going on and I see her testimony and I hear her testimony. And there is no jury. So this isn't even, he wanted to see her, damn it. So if it's that important, if it's that much of a difference that you see somebody and you see their testimony, same with the American public. They are depriving us of being able to see what the heck is going on and limiting it to this paperwork and a podcast by Joe Samo, right? And what upsets me the absolute most is there'll be reporters that talk about it. So a few times a reporter could get in and they'll say, oh, I heard this and I heard that. Like, dude, why can't we just watch it? Okay. So anyhow, I think, with Ivanka Trump, so she testified and she was, she said, well, I wasn't that involved with the actual financial documents. Same with the other kids, Eric and Junior. They also testified, we don't read all the disclosures. We don't do this. We don't do that, blah, 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 which I think is about accurate. I mean, you have these folks, they're involved in all these different companies, maybe they're like, oh yeah, that seems kind of high. It doesn't matter. Like that's what their accountants are preparing. And they also, to make it even worse, there was one particular person that worked for these entities, Alan Weisselberg. I've mentioned him in other podcasts. This guy was a known criminal. He pleaded guilty to stealing money from New York with these fraudulent his own personal income tax statements. He was not reporting like millions of dollars that he was getting. He wasn't reporting it, and he wasn't paying taxes on it. It was so bad that, he even pleaded guilty to it. The state of New York gave him a deal if he would testify against Trump and say things like he knew this was overvalued, like he knew my declarations were wrong, and I, prepared it and they signed it and blah, blah, blah. So they let out a known criminal off the hook. It just, to me, shows that they're just after Donald Trump, maybe, which is, okay, fine. You don't like him. Jesus. Okay. The next order of business is, I've said it before, Capital One, Deutsche Bank, these entities all had the opportunity and they agreed with his appraisals. Like, what, I wish I could be there to, examine one of them, testify, be like, okay, so you got the appraisal from Donald Trump? Yes. You agreed to that amount? Yes. You did your due diligence? Yes. You wouldn't lend somebody hundreds of millions of dollars without doing your own appraisals, right? Right. And you agreed with these numbers, right? Right. Okay. And this Deutsche Bank, like particularly Deutsche Bank, look, this bank has been around since like the 1870s or 1880s, like just about the time our Civil War ended here in America. And this bank survived, they survived World War I, and they survived the worst economic situation ever. It was called the Weimar Republic. I don't know if, the Weimar Republic after World War I, there was like the leaders in Germany, and they were just printing money, like worse than printing money. They were just making like just so much money that it was just nuts. And somehow Deutsche Bank was so smart, they actually like were able to get through that time. And then there was World War II. I mean, this bank was the Nazi funding, like they were in business with Nazi Germany. I mean, they've been around. They've done their due diligence and they survived all of that. And after World War II, and they survived the Germany splitting up and the reunification, and they have offices all over the world. Why am I saying all of this? They know what they're doing, and the appraisal values that Donald Trump gave them, and if they agree to it and they're not complaining, like I can't say it enough. There's no problem here. All right. Finally, the jury. There is no jury. And Donald Trump wanted a jury and the court denied a jury here. Let me tell you why. There was what we like to call a screw up by his lawyer not checking a box that says we want a jury. And then when they said, oh, wait, we want a jury, the judge said, oh, you didn't check the box, so I'm going to deny a jury. I think that is wrong. I mean, it's very common with lawyers and judges when there is a kind of goof up or whatever like that. You would let the lawyer come back and do it. It's not a big deal. There's no reason for that little procedural, little tic-tac rule that you wouldn't allow a jury. I mean, I think there should be a jury here, damn it, right? It's obvious the judge doesn't know what he's doing, so there should be a jury here, but the judge denied that. Now, just so before anyone says, well, they screw up. Okay, fine, but keep in mind then, okay, what about all the time there's an appellate court that reverses a judge's court ruling? Does that mean the judge screwed up? He should be, disbarred as a judge because an appellate court said, no, you made a mistake in your ruling here. So what I'm trying to say is there should be a jury in this case. The fact that there's no jury and all these other things, I think that either Donald Trump has to win this case or it's going to show that there is a serious effing problem in the state of New York's court system. That is that's my opinion, damn it. Okay. More importantly, dad jokes. All right. And thank you for the good folks of you that sent some of these in. I took notations of them. And here we go. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, by the way, Mateo, so a lot of people have been asking if you're real. And one of the days they're asking if you can come join over here. I told them that, well, Mateo has the perfect look to be behind the camera. He is the perfect guy to be behind the camera. And then someone asked, where is Zeke? Can Zeke be here? And I said, Zeke has the perfect look to be really far behind the camera. All right. I'm reading an anti-gravity book and I can't put it down. Yeah? Okay. At first, I thought my chiropractor wasn't any good, but now I stand corrected. I like that one. What do you think? Yay or nay on that one? Okay. My boss asked me why I only get sick on work days. I said it must be my weekend immunity system. Woo, my weekend immunity system. I was wondering why the basketball kept getting bigger and bigger. Then it hit me. See, I like that one especially. It's like, because it's coming at you, it's getting bigger and bigger, and then it hits you. All right. I was once a personal trainer until I gave a 2-week notice. All right, I got one that my wife read to me. How did it go? Oh, a priest, a pastor, and a rabbit went to donate blood. And the priest had type A blood. The pastor had type A blood. They look at the rabbit and go, well, what blood type are you? And the rabbit said, well, today I must be a type O. See you next week.